welcome back. Jim and Doug Show, episode number 36, 10/29/18. How you doing, partner?
Good. Definitely a good show planned today. We got an interview later on with Luke Wypler, so he's left tackle for St. Joe's. So, that'll be interesting, so make sure you stay tuned at the end for that.
Excellent. So let's get right into it. What was the big story yesterday? A World Series. So.
Yeah.
I know. Don't get down on it. It was.
Oh, I'm down on it. But they were the best team all season. You can't deny that. They beat three good, two 100-win teams to get to the World Series, and they beat the best the National League had to offer in the World Series, which is the Dodgers. So you can't say they weren't the best team in baseball this year. They were by far. So, congrats to them, but I don't have to be happy about it.
Wow, listen, we're in show business here. We don't have to be partial here, but you're right. They were the best team all year. They won 108 games, and and all these kids, these young kids, this kid Pierce, he came up huge. How big was he?
Oh, Pierce was he's a journeyman. He's been on every AL East team, and he's been around. That guy could just straight hit. He is just a really good hitter, good right-handed hitter, and the fact that they got him off the scrap heap and he becomes the World Series MVP, that's a great story.
Yeah, and you got to at least give some kudos to David Price. I mean, he was 0-9 in his playoff career, and we always knew he was a good pitcher. And I actually, as a Yankee fan, wanted to sign him a few years ago. And he chose Boston, but wow, did he come up huge?
Yeah, he pitched really, really, really well. And, as much as I, obviously rooted against them, and the Yankees pretty much always seemed to hit him, part of me, felt good for him, to be able to get the monkey off his back and pitch well. Like you said, he's been an ace for a long time in this league. And the only thing he was missing was kind of those, playoff performances. He really always, came up short, but now everyone has their day. He was just too good a pitcher to keep going out there and getting rocked every time.
Yeah, and this Alex Cora really, he seemed to do all the right things. All the moves he made were good, and it's pretty cool to see a rookie manager, come in, take over a team, and they buy into his system, and he takes them to the promised land. It was pretty good.
He did great. Every button he pressed, whether it was Devers, Nunez, Moreland, Pierce, Brock Holt, he was, whether it was switching up the catchers, Leon, Vasquez, every button he pressed always seemed to work, whether that, even the bullpen, he worked the bullpen great, with Barnes, coming in the game early on sometimes to get big outs. So in my opinion, he was the star of the series. The way he kind of managed that team and kind of guided them through without really any speed bumps at all. He was. Yeah,
and I thought it was really cool that he put Sale in to wrap it up last night because he knew it wasn't going to a game 6. So
I knew it was. I thought it was rubbing it in. To be honest with you.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. But no, it was whatever. You go at your best to nail down the World Series, so you can't fault that.
And the Dodgers, they gave it their all, but some of these other guys, Hernandez, he didn't hit. Puig came up big a couple times, but you have to question some of the moves Roberts made by pulling Hill out of that.
Not just that
game.
He went way too crazy with the lefty-righty thing.
Yes,
it started with the first game, but the whole lineup righty, but you have two of your best hitters, Muncy and Bellinger, on the bench in the World Series. Bellinger had just gotten done with the NLCS MVP. And at the game of his life in Game 7, and he sits the first 2 games. And I know he came in later, but it just didn't make sense. And I understand they're trying to get all the right hitters, but Kike Hernandez, the guy didn't hit the whole series. He had one hit the whole series.
Yeah, he didn't hit the whole playoffs either. I mean,
Why? I understand the righty-lefty thing, but at some point you've got to get your best players in the field. It's not like the Yankees are going to pull out Didi against lefties or anything like that. You got to put your best players.
And you had a 4-run lead with Hill still pitching.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. If he started to give up 1 run or 2 runs, then you pull him. But before that, and I don't think Hill was happy about it either. So.
No, he definitely wasn't. It's hindsight 2020. you can always, look back and say, oh, why did he pull him out? Why did he pull him out? Because you don't know what would have happened if he stayed in. But in my opinion there, I wouldn't have took him out because he just was at a low pitch count. He was, still effective, getting guys out. He just came off a strikeout. If it gets to the point where the tying runs on deck or something, maybe I would have considered it. But even to pull him, now they're going to pull him from Madsen. Madsen gave up a run almost every time he pitched in the postseason.
I know.
It wasn't a good
kind
move.
Of a questionable move.
He kept going to him. He kept going to him. And I know the bullpen was a little a little bare for the Dodgers, but he just kept going to him. And Roberts didn't have the best series. I'll say that. And he did a great job by getting him there the last 2 years, but he did not have the best series.
Yeah, and there's got to be a lot of, there could be some potential changes. They were talking to Kershaw. He's on the hook. He's got an option year or two option years. Does he take the $65 million and stay with the Dodgers, or does he go somewhere else where he thinks, he could win a World Series? That's a big question for them.
Yeah, I don't think I want him in pinstripes.
Well, I think they may go after Evaldi in pinstripes.
Oh my God! Oh, we did that already. I'm done with that. We did that already. Evaldi. Plus, I don't think Boston's gonna let him go. The way he did. He did great. But yeah.
Listen, one thing about this, this Machado, I was kind of hard for the Yankees to consider signing him. I don't. Yeah. You know what? I soured on him. He really put on a bad show in this postseason. He really did.
Well, I think he lost himself some money.
Somebody's going to pay him. Somebody's still going to get the money.
I don't know if he'll get as much as he was gonna. He's still so talented. He's so talented, and he's a great player. But just some of the moments, and it reminded me of Sanchez a little bit. The way he just jogged the first, and the cleating at first base, that needs to stop.
Oh, he's a dirty player, and he's a lazy player, and that's not going to be. That's not something the Yankees want to have, associated with them, a dirty player.
He's got to, if he wants to become be a Yankee, he's going to have to, say he's going to make some changes and make some changes, because even his comments just saying, I'm never going to be a hustle player, like, people don't like to hear that. You don't have to run, you only have to run 4 times a game in baseball. Just dig it out.
And if he comes to the Yankees, he's going to have to get a new hairdo, because that ain't going to fly in New York either. So.
Yeah. Well, you're probably right. We'll see.
It was a good series, though. It was good. It was a good postseason, and it was a lot of exciting baseball. And now that's on, and let's move on to the NFL.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't even want to talk about the Giants. Talk about some other team. How about that Rams-Packers game?
Great game.
That was a great game. I just could not believe Montgomery took the ball out of the end zone, and it turns out that he went against his coach's wishes.
Oh, I was going to say, either Mike McCarthy or Aaron Rodgers couldn't believe it either.
Well, yeah, supposedly Rodgers lost his mind in the locker room after, and I don't blame him.
Did.
I don't blame him. That was just not a good decision by Montgomery. Take that out of the end zone. I don't know what he was thinking. But supposedly he's been a problem for weeks now. Kind of just, getting mad that his role is kind of diminishing, and I guess he just wanted to take that opportunity to try and make a play, and he blew the game. Well,
listen, you know what that shows? That the Rams, they really are for real. And, although Goff didn't have his best game, he did enough to win. And, they beat a great team and so forth. And it certainly was the marquee game of the weekend and stuff. But, wow, yeah, that Montgomery thing really set Rodgers off, I could tell.
Yeah, and it set me off, too, because I don't know if you remember from last week, but I told you that the Packers were going to beat the Rams and the Rams were going to take their first loss. And I really should have had that one.
Well, we're going to get to our picks in a minute, so just hold off on that, buddy, because I was 3-0 again. So.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about it. All right.
Finally, of course, we talked about who's going to get fired, and I've been telling you Hugh Jackson needs to be shown the curb for how many weeks now? Finally, we got it today. So.
Yeah, and Todd Haley, both of them got it.
Yeah, I wouldn't give you 2 cents to Todd Haley anyway, but,
Yeah.
that was finally the right move because, they're going in the wrong direction. 3 and 30 over the past 4 seasons? I mean, come on.
Yeah, 3-36 over 3-36 and 1 in their last 40 games. So no coach is going to keep their job after that, and just the incompetence that they've been showing, like during some of these games, just not good.
No, so and the Jets, we like this guy Darnold. I think he's got potential. Like I said, I'm not signing up for him yet, but I think Todd Bowles is the next one who's got to be worried about his job. I still feel that way.
A lot of Jet fans do. The penalties that they commit and just the senseless mistakes that they have, it kind of holds them back. And I know he's a good defensive mind, but it's just the same. The problem is the same bad things happen every week, and I have to defer to all my Jet fan friends that are just sick of it, and they tell me. Every week, Bowles is just the same things over and over, doesn't know how to control the locker room. All the unforced errors, they add up. So, if you're going to have a team going forward that's going to have to get better, going to grow together with Darnold, where you have your franchise quarterback, but you got to put the team around him. Is he the one to lead it? I don't think it is, so they got to make that change.
Right, so it's either him or Doug Cutter in Tampa Bay that's going to be the next on the list, because this Tampa Bay – and I've told you, I was never sold on this Winston, and he looked real bad yesterday, cost him the game. They came close, but this Dirk Cutter doesn't seem to have his pulse on anything. I don't know how he didn't get it. He may get it tomorrow, actually.
He's the next one. I think he's the next one to go. Him. I was going to say Bill O'Brien, but Bill O'Brien woke up the Texans. Now they've won 5 in a row. And if you talk to me after the Giant game, when they lost to the Giants and went 0-3, I thought Bill O'Brien's days were numbered. Now he's on top of the world.
Yeah, I think he's safe, but I think Cutter and Bowles are the next on the hit list.
Well, I think Bowles will last the season. I think Bowles will get through the season. Cutter, he might be a mid-season guy. And Garrett, I think this might finally be it for Garrett.
I don't know. He keeps getting a vote of confidence from Jerry Jones, and I know that doesn't mean a hell of a lot in the NFL, but we'll see.
All right, talk Giants.
All right, so let's cover our picks from last week. So again, like I mentioned, I was 3-0 again, getting to be a little boring, but I had Houston over Miami. And I hope you're getting off this Miami bandwagon at some point.
Oh, I'm way off it.
Okay.
In fact, I'm picking against them this week.
And Tampa Bay at Cincinnati, I had the Bengals, and they eked it out, but Tampa Bay, they're a team that's going down the wrong side of the tracks. And Pittsburgh, listen, I think they're getting to be pretty good. I like Connor. He's doing good, and I told you I wouldn't even let Le'Veon Bell into the locker room if he decides to show up.
Yeah, well, they don't need him. They certainly don't need him anymore.
So you had Green Bay wasn't a bad pick over the Rams, but
I covered the spread. Let's just remember that.
Okay, DraftKings guy, I get it.
What else did I have? I had
You had New Orleans over Minnesota, which wasn't a reach at all. And Breeze didn't have a great game, but he did enough to win. And actually, the Minnesota receivers kind of gave the game away. They did some bad things. And
yeah, they did.
And you picked a garbage game, Indy over the Raiders. But like I said, I'm a big Luck fan, and I think the Raiders just they've packed it in and. That was kind of an easy pick. So
hey! It counts just the same.
I got it. I'm not knocking you, buddy.
Counts just the same. All right, I'll lead off. So I said I teased it already, so I'll go with it. I'm gonna pick the Jets over Miami this week. I'm off the Miami bandwagon. I'm expecting to see Osweiler again. Miami's favored by 3, so. If you're a gambling man like I am, you take the 3 points there, but I'll take the Jets to beat Miami in Miami.
I disagree, but go ahead.
All right. You want my next one?
Yep.
Okay. My next one. I think this team is going to get hot and get back into the mix. I'm gonna take Atlanta at Washington. If the game's to pick 'em, I'll take Atlanta to beat Washington and climb their way back into the playoff race. They just have too much talent. I think that they played the Giants. They didn't play particularly well, but they started to click on certain things, especially on defense. So I'll take them to beat Washington.
I told you I'm a big Ryan fan, and I think they're gonna start bouncing back. I'm not sure they could win on the road though, on the grass, but we'll see. Okay.
I'm gonna go back to the well. My third pick. This is the week that the Rams finally lose. They're at New Orleans, and they're gonna play in the Dome. So I got New Orleans winning that game. So I'm gonna go New Orleans 2 weeks in a row, and I'm picking against the Rams 2 weeks in a row. In this instance, it's the same pick. So New Orleans, the game's to pick 'em. I'll take New Orleans to win that game, and that might be the best game of the regular season.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick actually. The Rams got to take it on the chin at some point. Why not New Orleans?
Yeah, so. I think this is the week they do.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that next week. So what else you got? The NBA's underway.
Well, how about your picks?
All right. Here's my picks. I got Jets at Miami.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually take Miami, and I'm not sure why, but I just don't have enough confidence in the Jets to win, and they're on the road, so I'm going to take Miami here.
Okay. All right. So we're head-to-head on that one.
All right. So I got Detroit at the Vikings, and I know the Vikings, fell apart last night, but again, I like Stafford a little bit, but not enough to think that they can win on the road against the Vikings. So I'm taking Minnesota.
Okay.
And Green Bay, New England. Here's probably my surprise pick. I know the logic will dictate, and I don't like to bet against Brady, but I think Green Bay is going to bounce back and take that on the road. That'll be the big surprise, I think. So that's my third pick.
So Green Bay going into Lambeau. Okay. I like it. I like going out on the limb there.
And I'm going to even throw in a bonus pick. Not that I have to do, but I just like the fact that I could be 4-0. Because I don't like this. I don't like Rivers. Phillip Rivers, and they're going to Seattle, and I really like Russell Wilson. Not that I have to, make an extra pick here, but I like Seattle to win that game against the Chargers.
All right. So in that case, I'm going to throw an extra pick in and take the Chargers because I think the Chargers will win that.
Okay.
So that'll be our head-to-head. We have 2 head-to-head matchups this week, so we'll have to keep track of that.
All right, good.
All right, so we'll end it with a little NBA talk. It's not a lot going on right now. It's just
there's not.
Teams are playing out the string. The Knicks are going to be awful. They have to be awful. I like to watch them anyway because they play hard and they're young. So I'm going to keep watching them and just hope for the best there. A team I really like watching, the Lakers. LeBron and those young kids around him, I know they're on late most of the time. They're on national TV a lot. If you catch yourself up late, tune in and watch how they play because they play really hard. They got an interesting group of guys on that team. Just a lot of castaways like Lance Stevenson and McGee and Rondo. They have a lot of castaways that were journeyman type players. And then they got this young core that plays really well with LeBron. So they're fun to watch, and they got a little bit of shooting. If they start shooting the ball a little bit better, they might finally be a threat. But I don't see that this year.
Yeah, and I'm happy that the Lakers got LeBron, and he'll turn it around. But it's not going to happen this year. And
no.
He's got Lance Stevenson. These guys are has-beens and so forth. So he's not going to carry him that far. And plus, they're not going to beat the Warriors no matter what. So
yeah, no, I know, I understand. The Warriors are winning this year. It's foregone. But as a fan of basketball and watching the way teams play, I kind of gravitate towards some of these younger teams and just seeing how some of the innovative coaches are. Walton and Fizdale for the Knicks, Walton for the Lakers. They play fast paced and they emphasize shooting and they emphasize defense. So it's just a good, it's kind of a carbon copy of the Warriors the way they play, but it's just a fun brand of basketball to watch.
And like I said, I'm not a big NBA guy per se, but this guy Lou got fired yesterday, and you know what? I mean, what did they expect? You lost the best player in the game, and you got nobody else on the team, and so he must have just butted heads with somebody, and he got. So it doesn't matter. I mean,
I think for him, I don't think Lou was ever a great coach. I think
Agreed.
a lot of it
I
had to do with LeBron being there and him having a close relationship with LeBron. Now LeBron's gone and he's got a coach for his supper, and with a subpar team, it's not going to turn out well because he was never head coach material to begin with.
Right.
So that's
I agree,
so
but I thought they got a raw deal. You lost the best guy.
Did this in the off season. They should have did this in the off season. 6 games in. Just get rid of him now.
They still wouldn't have had anybody come play for Cleveland. Nobody wants to play in Cleveland.
No one wants to play, but they could have had a new coach in place rather than one they knew couldn't coach because they didn't learn anything in these 6 games that they didn't already know.
All right, so listen, let's move on real quick. We'll wrap up with some college football. Big surprise, I thought. Wisconsin losing to Northwestern, but you know what? Northwestern comes up big, and they play some tough games.
They're playing Notre Dame this week.
I know, and I wouldn't look past it, but I think Notre Dame is on a roll here. I mean,
Notre Dame's looking good, but they better not look past Northwestern because that place can be like a tough place to play at times. It's dreary. The Big Ten, they play slow. It can kind of lull you to sleep, and then all of a sudden you end up losing 17-13. So
I'm a big Pat Fitzgerald fan, though. I mean, I remember watching him play. He's an awesome coach. I really like him, but I think Notre Dame they finally climbed that hurdle, and I think they're going to make the playoffs unless they get tripped up along the way.
They can't get tripped up. That's the key. The
other big upset was Texas losing to Oklahoma State.
I knew that was going to happen. Texas, when they're favorites, they lose every time. They can only win when they're the underdog. So they climbed the hurdle, they climbed the mountain, and now they became the favorite, and they lost. They lost that edge. So I knew they were going to lose that game. They just weren't. Stillwater's a tough place to play. It's just they're not back just yet. They're getting there though. I think the game of the week. Right. I think the game of the week is Michigan Penn State, and I told you I'm not a big Harbaugh fan, but they're at home against Penn State, and I think they win this, but I still don't think they could beat Ohio State. No, I mean I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that they beat Penn State. Penn State's just as talented, I think, and I think they'll have the best player in the field in McSorley. I really think that. But LSU Bama is my game of the week. Come on, that's a great game.
No, that's a good game. I'm just saying. I'm not sure. I don't think anybody could beat Alabama though, no matter how good LSU's defense is.
Okay. All right. If you're gonna take that, then I'll say if you're just gonna stand by that Alabama can't lose no matter what, which I kind of agree with. They really can't. Their Tua is too good. Their defense is just shut down. They just have everything you would want in a team.
And I like LSU. They're a good football team, and their defense is awesome. But they're going up against almost an NFL-like team. So I don't see. I think that's why I said the Michigan Penn State game may be the most intriguing of the week.
I agree with you there. So that's it. It was kind of a slow week for college football. A lot happening. There wasn't a lot of good games. So this week it should be a lot more interesting.
Yep. And listen, before we head out, let's just say this thing that happened in Pittsburgh was a horror show, and our hearts go out to those families in Pittsburgh. And it's a little off the beaten path, but it's something that we got to live with every day, and it's unfortunate, and all our best to them.
Yes, definitely don't condone any of that. It's just a real shame that that had to happen. So our hearts go out to them for sure.
Yep. So. Thanks for joining us, folks, and we'll talk to you next week. And Dougie, have a good week, buddy.
You too. Stay tuned for Luke Wypler after this. So don't turn it off. We got an interview after this, a little bonus. So Luke Wypler, St. Joe's. Stay tuned for that.
Well done. Thank you. Hey guys. Welcome back to the Jim and Doug Show. We have a very special guest tonight, Luke Wypler, starting left tackle on the number 2 rated St. Joe's Green Knights. How you doing, Luke?
Good. How are you guys today?
Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. And listen, so first of all, congratulations on your big win this past Saturday. You knocked off the number 1 team. How does that feel?
The win, it wasn't pretty, but it was a win. Unpretty win is better than any loss. So that's kind of the way we're looking at it. And we're going to get those guys again in a few weeks, coming up in the state semifinals. So we're just going to get ready, get our heads right to make this run down to the state championship game.
That's awesome, really. You guys, it was kind of lousy weather and stuff, but yeah, you did what you had to do to win, and that was great. And it must feel good for the whole team, right?
Yes, it was definitely a great feeling. I mean, the whole team, every guy really worked hard that week getting prepared, and it just goes to show in the game when we got the win.
That's great. And listen, so the seedings came out, right? So
yes,
you guys got a week off to get yourself together. How does that feel?
Good. I mean, it's like any kind of bye week. I mean, it's just about getting your body back into somewhat decent shape to where it's tolerable to play, and just get ready for the next team. And now it's do or die. So that's kind of the mentality the whole team has, that every game has to be played like a state championship game because it's win or go home.
Yep, yeah, and you're going to run into the same guys you ran into all season, right? I mean,
of course, yeah. I mean, at the first round, we have to play a team from South Jersey, either Notre Dame or St. Augustine. I think they play this Friday night. So either one of those guys, we haven't seen them yet, but we have some little film on them. So we'll just start breaking down, see what they're doing, and see what we can do to beat them. And then it's on to the next one if we're fortunate enough to win, and then just keep winning.
That's great. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
So as you go through the year, you study yourself on film a little bit. What are some things that you pick, you look at, within yourself to try and improve on? Whether that be kind of going forward, into next year or just, game by game, what do you look for?
For me, while I watch myself, I like to critique myself about things I can improve, like you said. Some things just kind of point out for me is like a little bit, like just small things like head placement on certain plays where my head is. My footwork is very important to me, and my hands, and hand placement for offensive linemen, all those, the 4 pendulums, your feet and your hands, that really goes to what pushes guys around. So all about leverage and playing with like a low center of gravity and low pad level. So like all those little things I did, and then if I'm not doing on a certain play, why wasn't I doing it if I was playing a little high in my pass set?
Okay, all right.
So that's
That's excellent. And, Luke, playing left tackle, is always, covering the blind side of the quarterback and so forth. And every week you're going to have to play against probably the best right defensive end on any given team. And, how do you get yourself ready for that every week?
For me, I'd like to do a lot of film study during in preparation for the game. So I go around the whole defensive line, see what kind of moves their D linemen have on pass rush and pass weeks. They like to swim, like long arm, spin move inside, and kind of see what they got going for them. So when it comes to game time, I kind of know, oh wow, they're leaning their stance to the right. Maybe they're going to try going outside on me, or they're really tight this time. Maybe they're going to try to rip inside. So kind of just the little things that I can pick out on every defense of linemen to kind of see what they like to do.
Excellent. Hey, listen, let's backpedal a little bit. You were, I've known you since you were, 20 pounds, and now you're as big as Mount Everest and stuff. Why don't you tell our audience, how'd you pick St. Joe's? Why was that the place you felt that was the place you needed to be?
For me, I've been a Green Knight since I've probably been 5 or 6. I was the ball boy growing up and the water boy. I mean, I used to carry the water for the greats like Mark Fasati, Tommy Hatton, Joe Dallas Harris, all those guys that are now playing big-time football all across the country. And Coach Carson was always the head coach when I was there until like the last 2 years, my 7th and 8th grade year. So I always saw myself playing in that kind of setting where perfection is needed, and that's kind of how I always look at everything I do in life, that I want to have a perfect mindset to it and do it right. And that's something that I really found at St. Joe's, and the brotherhood that it held, and kind of seeing it like your very good friends, my dad, like going to games, and my dad's mid-50s now, that he still has the same friends, and they're willing to kill someone for each other, and that's kind of something I really wanted to have, kind of coming into high school and then leaving in the future.
That's awesome. And how about your coaches now? I mean, it's got to be a big lift for you having somebody. And you mentioned, Tony Korsich is the winningest coach in Bergen County history, and he turned the program over to Augie, who's a couple state championship rings with St. Joe's and former NFL player. How does that feel?
For me, like, that was also one of my decisions was, where can I be the best football player that I can be? And under Coach Hoffman, being a former Boston College alumni, where at his time Boston College was the place to be an offensive lineman, and he went on to play for the Saints. So, I mean, for me to learn how to play offensive line, why not do it under the best person in probably high school football in the whole country? So, playing for Coach Hoffman's unlike anything else. I mean, the way he teaches the game is the way the game's supposed to be played, and especially the offensive line position. He teaches you the in and outs of what you have to do and what you should be doing. I owe it all to him and my offensive line coach, Coach Frank Caro, who both really made me into the person and player I am today.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Great.
Real good stuff. All right, so you are committed to Ohio State. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Okay, so
yes,
kind of to piggyback off what he said, what was it about Ohio State that you really liked? I mean, I'm sure you visited and everything, so tell me about that process.
For me, I was looking. St. Joe's was kind of like the only place I wanted to go as a kid, and I never looked at Bergen Catholic, Don Bosco, Prime Catholic DePaul, and all the other big schools up here. So St. Joe's was always like my focus and the place I wanted to go. And I knew going through the recruiting process, I wanted to get the best education and play the best football I can, and kind of play for a winning program that has a lot of history and legacy of being perfect, like I said before, and just doing everything the right way. And I wanted to feel someplace where I felt at home, and somewhere that kind of felt like St. Joe's was that brotherhood, and just that need for perfection. Ohio State was that for me. From the minute I stepped on campus, you could feel the brotherhood between the players in the locker room, on the practice field. And I remember leaving and being on the plane coming home and just feeling like, wow, I could really see myself here. Like, it was kind of like that aha moment, like, wow, This is the place. So, and then getting to know Coach Meyer and Coach Ciano and Coach Stud better throughout my recruiting process, it kind of just all led me back to the same thought that, wow, this is the place for me.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Hey, Luke, when you're talking about this and the whole recruiting process and so forth, I mean, a lot of people were looking at you, and that's great that you kind of knew where you needed to go. I mean, how did that feel? What was the deciding factor at Ohio State? Because you're also an academic guy, and what really sealed the deal for you?
For me, so like I wasn't a big fan of the recruiting process personally. I kind of knew the places I was very interested in. I really only visited those places, and my final two really came down to after I visited was Ohio State and Stanford. So Stanford has the big one of the education, the great football out in California. Can't really beat the location. And then Ohio State, which is also great football and a great academic school. So for me, what kind of came down to my deciding factor was just how I felt, because they had both of them on the football and education level, both had each other tied. So it's really where I felt at home and where I can see myself succeed in years to come.
Awesome. Hey, look, why don't you tell us a little bit about, like I said, like you grew up as a water boy, and now you're this big guy. You're what, 6'6", 280, whatever you might be?
Yeah, right? 6'4", 280.
Well, tell us what a kind of a typical training regimen for you is, as you're preparing, week after week.
Like in season for me, so on Mondays after practice at St. Joe's, we have a lower body kind of lift, so a lot of squats, step ups, just a lot of lower body stuff. And then after that, I usually have my own little training session I do with one of my trainers at around like 7 o'clock usually on Mondays. And it's kind of like a total body where I do a little back, shoulders, abs, and a little more legs, and a little more speed kind of work where I kind of just get my legs back and going and get my body moving quick. Tuesday for me, training-wise, after practice, I usually take the day off, focus on doing a little homework and the studies if I have any tests coming up in the week that I know about. Just get my homework done that night and just try to get to bed a little earlier and get ready for the rest of the week. Wednesday, normal practice. Then we usually have upper body lift at St. Joe's, which is kind of shoulders back, chest, and then after that I do my own lift at around 7, which is more kind of like upper body, a lot of abs, a lot of back. For me, I need to work on strength in my back. My shoulders are a little banged up right now. So just kind of a little biceps, triceps, just kind of working everything, keep everything in shape right now. It's not so much about building muscle. It's about just kind of muscle endurance and getting my muscles loose and activated and working so they're not too sore.
And how about when you get to Ohio State? I mean, are you set on you being a tackle, or are you looking, any other positions, and how do you prepare for that?
For me, they're looking for me to play more interior, so either guard or center, and either one I'd be more than perfectly okay with. And to prepare for that, I mean, I'm focused right now on playing tackle. So probably before I head there, after my senior season, I'll probably work with Coach Hoffman in the off season. He'll work on converting me into a center guard, just kind of working on snapping, footwork, and the different footworks are going in there. I'm not completely stunned by all the new changes in that position.
That's great. That's
Definitely.
great.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Jim, anything else you got?
Yeah, listen, Luke. It's been a long season and stuff. How do you prepare for the whole state playoffs? I know you were disappointed last year. You guys came up just a little bit short. How does that change your mindset for going into the state playoffs and knowing what kind of hill you have to climb here?
For us, I mean, as a team as a whole, I think last year, especially for me as a sophomore and the juniors last year, yes, it sucked to lose the state championship game, and it was a game we wanted to win. We were really close, and that killed everybody. But I think it did a little more good than bad. We're kind of looking back at it as the glass half full. That to the point where this all season, the whole team trained very hard, knowing that everyone had a little extra fire going in their chest where that state championship ring should have been, and it wasn't on our fingers. So everyone kind of pushed themselves, and a huge credit to the upperclassmen really getting the whole team going this all season, pushing each other, and throughout the camp in the summer, everyone was really moving at a high speed, and even during the season, I mean, you kind of see the little extra passion and motivation that everyone on the team has. And now going into the playoffs, it's so close. It's like you can almost taste it going in, and it's just about finishing right now. And it's do or die, and that's kind of how the whole team's perspective of it is.
Yeah, and how does it feel? Like you said, you came in as a sophomore last year, and now you're basically an upperclassman. How does that make you feel? To kind of be one of the leaders of this team that's going into the playoffs with a lot of high expectations. How do you feel about that?
It feels great. I mean, there's no place of course we'd rather be one in the playoff rankings, but either way, we're number 2 and we got to fight to get the ring. It doesn't matter whoever's last man standing at the end is who has it. So we think we have a revenge game, and then that's really it.
Awesome. Listen, we wish you the best of luck, and we thank you very much for being on the Jim and Doug show today, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
No
we'll
problem.
talk to you soon. We'll talk to you during the playoffs. All right?
Thank you.
All right, Luke. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a nice night.
You too.
Bye-bye.